I had this idea. Jim Rohn was a mentor and a friend, and he was passing, and social media was rising, 2008, and he was toward he was towards the end of his life, and everybody knew it. And what went through my mind is this social media thing looks like it's going to be a thing. This is just when Facebook had just come out, and it was just for students. They just transitioned from college students to high school students.
Eric, I am really excited to have you here today because you're somebody that before I met, I heard about for years, and I have tremendous respect for what you've accomplished. You've written a best-selling book in the network marketing arena. You've trained over 1.5 million people, which is just insane. You've built the studio of my dreams in Las Vegas, the amazing place that you've got there, and you're really like you've gone into all of the media. You have a YouTube channel, you have podcasts, and the most important thing though is that you're a fantastic instructor, teacher, mentor, and coach, and you also did this. Like you're not one of those people that just kind of came along and were like, let me read a book about how to be a great network marketer, and then I'm going to teach people to be great network marketers. You kind of came up through the trenches, and I would love it if you would just share a little bit about your story with us today, and then I'll ask questions as we go along. But I mean, how did this start? How do you get to where you are now? Because I think there's a lot of people that would look at where you are and say, "Man, I'd really love to be there." What's the story?
Well, I pinch myself every day. The one thing, I did build a large organization in network marketing. I did have what people would call success in the space, and I did pivot 15 years ago, just when Jim Rohn was fading. I decided to kind of start. Social media was rising, 2009. I just decided to start making little videos and putting them out into the world with no agenda, no business agenda, really. But the one thing that there's this old maxim: those who can't do teach.
All right.
Um, and never listen to somebody who's not doing what you want to do right now.
Yep.
I push back on that meme a bit. Like Bill Belichick's not very good football player, but he's a pretty good coach.
Yep.
So there's some people who are just really, really good. They're not great business people, but they're really good at taking a particular category and boiling down the simple things that matter and communicating that in a way that makes a difference for people. So you don't always have to have it. I mean, so it's nice if you do. You can call bullshit easier if you've lived it, than
I
if you
think that
haven't.
I think that you have the ability to relate to the issues and challenges somebody
Sure.
has so much better. And I agree with you. I don't think you have to be doing it today to be a good coach. But I really do think that having lived in the mind of
Yeah.
the people that you're helping makes
There's
a huge
there's a
difference.
different empathy for sure. And I have, my core belief is network marketing can't really be understood. And your audience that is trying to understand what network marketing, multi-level marketing is, you might
Yeah.
think that you understand it. It can't be understood from the outside. It has to be experienced.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that is highly emotional, way more than any other profession that I'm even aware of. But I started in this profession when I was 23 years old, and needed money. I had the gift of desperation. I was introduced at a good time. I had some good mentors. I struggled for 3.5 years until I finally really made a decision to go pro, to become world class and stop trying to get lucky and just focus on the skills. And it took another 3.5 years to go from there to $1 million a year in the profession, which I was at for many, many years.
And this
And
was a bit ago, right? So that
yeah,
million is worth a
when
whole
$1
lot
million
more today than
was
it
real
was then.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's like 15 cents. But I had this idea. Jim Rohn was a mentor and a friend, and he was passing, and social media was rising, 2008, and he was toward he was towards the end of his life, and everybody knew it. And what went through my mind is this social media thing looks like it's going to be a thing. This is
Mhm.
just when Facebook had just come out, and it was just for students. It just transitioned from college students to high school students.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to get on this thing. And all my kids said, if you get on, I'm getting off. This is so embarrassing. Don't you follow me? You're just this creepy old guy. Don't come on Facebook, please. I said, no, there's something here. So I started asking around, who knows um, somebody who's smart at this. And Gary Vaynerchuk's name kept coming up. So I called Gary at his wine library. He was doing a wine vlog at the time, getting
Yeah.
80,000 views a day. Crazy. And that's all he did out of his dad's wine store. And
Yeah.
I said, how much for 2 hours of your time? I want to fly out and meet with you. So I flew out in February 2009 and met with him for a couple hours and said, I want to do for the network marketing space what you are doing for the wine space. So can you deconstruct it for me? So we kind of mapped it all out. He ended up putting virtually everything he said to me in the book Crush It if you ever want to learn. But the reason for me wanting to do that is I was thinking in my head, well, how cool would it be if Jim Rohn had a video camera in his pocket and recorded everything instead of just the few audio programs and the few books that he put out, that he had kind of a living diary of all of his ideas and experiences.
Mhm.
So I ended up, he did the last talk of his life in March of 2009, which happened to be the year or the month that I started Network Marketing Pro, which was a an idea to put as much information out as possible for free at the beginning, and still for free to most people, to the network marketing space, 100 million people strong.
Mhm.
And then it turned into a thing. I didn't have any list to join. I would did it all. I bought a bunch of equipment that I never used. Um, I ended up with a flip cam.
Yeah, those
I
were
loved
great,
my
weren't
little
they?
flip cam.
I remember
and
those.
and somebody taught me Final Cut Express and created a little template for me so I could just record and then dump it in the middle and squeeze it together and export it, and how to put it on a WordPress site and how to tell my little audience that the new video's up. That first year I put out like 250 videos or something, average 5, 6, 7 minutes long. Just give them an idea or some story or something, a little bit of value every day,
Yeah.
and never asked for anything. I didn't ask for anything for 2 years.
Yeah.
And from that built a brand and huge following. And then we did our first event for 200 people at the Monte Carlo here in Las Vegas, uh, that we called GoPro. Um, or no, GoPro Recruiting Mastery is what we called it. 200 people were there for 3 days. And the next year was 400, and then 800, then 2,400, and then 4,000, then 6,000. We got up to 18,000 in person, which was insane at the Las Vegas Convention Center. We had Tony Robbins and Richard Branson and Pitbull
Yeah.
and all the fancy stuff, but it was a concrete jungle, nightmare, crazy. We ended up settling into the MGM Garden Arena, which is a really nice space for us. Once a year, we'd get everybody together, and by then we had a few courses. And I wrote the book GoPro, which went on to sell about 5 million copies, self-published, which was complete surprise to
Mhm.
me, around the world. And then the pandemic hit, and we needed to do something. We were booked at the MGM Garden Arena, and people weren't coming there. So Tony Robbins had started he built this little virtual studio, and I called him and said, hey, could I use that? Because that would help us out, because I didn't want to give everybody refunds.
Right.
I wanted to do the event, and he said, "Oh, I'm not renting it to anybody. No offense, but everybody's called. I'm just using it for my stuff." I said, "Hey, I'll respect." So we just decided to take a huge risk, my wife and I, and we built our own. So we ended up building a $25 million spaceship.
Yeah.
that we can put 400 people in person, and it can have interactive 500,000 people. I could talk to in real time, 500,000 that I could talk to, and then millions we can stream to. So, I mean, they just finished filming you'll see advertisements for it, but it's called Lucky 13. It's a game show from the people who did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, hosted by Shaquille O'Neal. They just finished filming last week, and so first season's coming out soon. But nice. Gurus, people do book launches, and Russell Brunson's doing his next conference there coming up soon, and we use it about 20-25 days a year, and then lots of other artists and different people use it for different purposes. But so that's happened, and we do a lot of consulting, and we sell information and training and masterminds and the whole thing. So